flex. The livest one in the section. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walking, drink blood, trains out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. Lightweight, baby. What's time to bleed this Sunday evening? We're going to talk about it. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Smash the like button, like and share the video. And, yeah. Got a lot to cover here. Got a lot to discuss. And it's going to be a very interesting week. We got a lot going on, a whole lot going on. Let's do this roll call real quick. Anwar Willis, Tay Tay in the building, Deland James, Eric L, Jeff Spark in the building. Salute. Frank from the land. Armanize, salute sis. Rod Neal, Peter the Great. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Y'all must have forgot. Salute. L Hitman, Shaquilla Fields. Salute sis. EDA Sports Talk. Bionic Prince, Tone Brown, Peter the Great. Salute. Yeah. So let's do it. First and foremost, the Audacity podcast in the building. Salute. I don't want to waste any time. Oh man, here comes Joseph Jackson when I'm only 23. We're gonna get to that. Because let me explain something to you. This is very pivotal. This is going to be very important. And I'm going to be talking about things like this all week long. And I'm going to explain some things to y'all guys. But one thing at a time. Yeah. One thing at a time. Let's go in order. It was a loaded card from Andy Cruz to Esau Cruz. You know, it was a loaded card, but for the most part, all of my picks came true, with the exception of the fight in the middle, Ruiz versus Miller. I picked Miller to win, and I thought he did win. However, I'm not too angry at the outcome. I'm not going to scream robbery. I just thought he won. They called it a draw. I know he didn't lose. I know that. There's a lot of important points that the people are just not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Cameron Fields, salute sis. How are you? Well, oh man, okay. I want to start with El Rayo. Let's start with that young man right there. First and foremost, I called it. Bob Jones, salute. I called it. Esau Cruz, again, Young Hollywood, salute. I love his story. Any story like him, like Andy Ruiz, they have the similar story. They had one foot out the door of boxing. Money wasn't right. They weren't being taken seriously. And they got one shot and they made the most of it. And, you know, they become $1 million fighters. And that's great. And I hope that both of them have people around them that'll assist them in doing good things with their money. Because what I don't want is this story a decade from now being like, hey, you know, I made $5 million in my career and I only had $500,000 in my bank account. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Shelton, I'm live on the other channel too, but you know how they do me. You know who's doing it.
¡Ay, Miguel!
You know, broken wrist Miguel over there in San Francisco with that rainbow flag over his futon. You know where he is. Drew Titan is live. I'm not gonna send out no notifications. Streaks on the wall. His whole apartment smells like pool gas. It's just him and his man in there. Come on, Miguel. Come on now. Get off me, because I know you want to get on me. That'll never happen, but get off me. Dow Big G, what's good? Anyway, boxing, please. Can you imagine what his apartment smell like? Oof. Y'all ever been in a house where, Michael Ray, what up? You ever smelled the fresh perm? Yeah. Imagine walking into an apartment where it smells like you smell the boiled eggs, just cracked out the shell. Auntie cooking chitlins, because she from the South. And your little sister getting her hair permed. I mean, we're talking about projectile vomit style. You know what I mean? Moonwalk or do an about face and walk out the house. But that's how Miguel's apartment smells. So Miguel's not gonna send out my notifications, but it's all good. Y'all know what time it is. Miss Fields says she can smell it now, yeah? Raven Nation, salute. Oh man, but if y'all don't know, Miguel is the person that's been put in charge of policing my YouTube account. He don't send out notifications. He gets mad when I talk about 2 Latin fighters in particular. And when I make jokes about the broken wrist community. So, but I'm not breaking any rules or regulations. So what are you gonna do, Miguel? You've been found out. Anyway, boxing, please. Terminated. Anyway, I like Andy Cruz. I mean, Andy Cruz, who fought last night, but Esau Cruz story. Love Andy Ruiz story. But they had both of them, incidentally, I had very pivotal points in their career. Let me explain. Esau Cruz had a good outing against Tank. Firmly believe, it's not firmly believe, we saw it. Tank wasn't throwing his, I forgot which hand it was, but Tank showed defensive skills because he was avoiding jab jamboree, salute. He was, Dar, what up? He was avoiding getting hit. He was hitting and not getting hit, but he wasn't throwing no KO shots. The upside was Esau didn't go in there to lay down, and people took notice of that. And you know, Tank gave him the blessing. A star is born. And I'm like, okay, I don't think so, but whatever. I just saw a very small boxer who was just trying to take your head off. He has very good stamina, and I don't want to say he's powerful. I'll say he's explosive, but not powerful. Like, the punches is fast, and, you know, if he hits you good enough times, he'll hurt you. But you know what? I said, I just saw in this fight, he's fun to watch, but he could be outboxed. And Tank proved that when he beat him by outboxing him. Then he got that payday. You know, he got noticed, and then they throw him in there with like Gamboa, who became the gatekeeper for 135. They threw him in there with him, and then I saw a fight with him and Cabrero. That's Freddie Roach's guy who just lost to Zapata a couple of weeks back. Well, he fought Esau Cruz on the Bud and Errol undercard. I was there for that fight, and I'm watching it like, yo, you know what? Again, the kid's fun to watch because he's always trying to like go for the kill, but he could be outboxed. And I thought Cabrero, I thought he won that fight. I thought he won it. And all right, okay. So I'm watching. I'm like, I thought he won either way. but they gave Cruz the nod. And I said, okay, I see. Bad for business for Cabrera to win. Fine. Then down the road, they throw him in the ring with Rolly Romero, who had physically all the tools to compete, but he doesn't have a high IQ. And he's also strong himself. So I said, leading up to that fight, I said, man, whoever lands first, I think they're going to win. And Esau landed first, and Rolly never recovered from that. Anthony, what up? So, but I said, you know, he's not hard to box. In fact, it was after the Cabrera fight, I said, you know, on second thought, if Ryan Garcia could box this kid, Ryan could beat him. Well, he gets in there with El Rayo. When they signed that fight, the popular pick, Edgar, what up? The popular pick was Cruz by knockout. And I said, not so fast. Not so fast. El Rayo's 5'10". So already, like most of his opponents, he has a height advantage. Number two, PGH, what up? Number two, El Rayo could box. We've seen that. That's number two. Number three, he does have a decent chin. He does. Number four, he also can crack himself. So I said he has all the tools, and he's not supposed to lose to Esau. Now, when you make a Hen Dog, what up? When you make a decision on boxing, the disclaimer is it's boxing. You could be totally wrong. The guy you could pick to go in there and make a mistake and clip, it's over in the first 3 rounds. That can happen. But with all things being equal, when you're looking at both fighters and what they've done and how they fight, you base your decision. You make a decision based off of what you see. And I picked El Rayo to win, and he did. Esau came in there. How many jabs did he throw in the fight? Y'all tell me. He didn't throw many jabs, and he was just coming in, throwing hooks, and El Rayo tied him up on the inside, picking off shots. He boxed him, and they got the call right. Now, with that being said, right, and I like Esau Cruz. I like his story. He's indeed a pit bull. He's tough, and I like him. He's always a guy you call. It's like, okay, we got a main event, and we got a co-main, if he's not a co-main. But if you want to fill up the middle of that card, throw Esau in there. Now, exactly, Tone. He has no real punch selection. It's straight hooks. Hooks and heart. That's what he has. Hooks and heart. And guys like that, Mitchell show what up, as they get older, he's going to slow down by seconds. Because right now, a lot of that is youth. He's going to slow down by seconds. He might not be punching as hard. And as you get older, your punch resistance may dwindle. So what you got after that? So he's maximizing this dollar now, which is why I hope that he has his finances together, because past what we've seen on El Rayo, I don't see anything else he can do outside of landing something and getting lucky. He'll beat a Rolly Romero. He'll beat an old Yuriorkis Gamboa. But El Rayo, I knew it played out exactly how I figured. I'm like, unless he goes upside El Rayo's head and something crazy happens. And it didn't. Is he beating Zapata? Is he beating Regis Prograis at 140? Really think about what I'm saying. Is he beating Devin Haney? Is he beating Shakur? If any of those guys decide that if he goes down to 135 or go back up to 140, all of those guys, is he beating a Lomachenko at 135 or 140? He's not, bro. Not based off of what I've seen. So this is it. But here's my question to y'all, and I need y'all just to think about what I'm about to ask you. Is anybody gonna call Esau Cruz a one-trick pony? Think about that. And that's where the racial aspect comes in, because I haven't heard it yet. He's a warrior and blah, 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 blah. Is anyone going to call him a one-trick pony? Because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's what it is. If he had beat El Rayo and shown me a different angle, I'd be like, okay, El Rayo called him a one-dimensional fighter. That's what he did. He called him a one-dimensional fighter. I said, man. But you know what? Is he wrong? And I know he's mad at Sean Gibbons and everything else, but that's marketing. But he was in there with Esau. And he said, and I quote, he's a one-dimensional fighter. Is he wrong? Where was the changing of the gear? Where was the plan B, C, D, E? Where was it? Where was the jab coming in on the inside? You didn't see it. What was his corner telling him? I didn't hear anything. Queen, salute. Exactly. So I'm asking y'all, is he a one-trick pony? Is anybody going to call him that? Now let me talk to the black fans for a minute. I just gave y'all something. You're not going to hear it. You're going to hear everything about heart, him being undersized, but determination, will, chin. A sob story turned into a Rocky Balboa story. They're not going to call him a one-trick pony. But I'm telling you, that's what he is. And I'm not being disrespectful. But outside of that, what is he? 8A Sports talking that super chat salute. He said, Rayo did a great job controlling the pace and hitting Cruz with those straights and pivoting out since Esau tried to corner him. He did. He did. He damn sure did. Sensei's in the building. What's good?
What's happening, man? Sorry, a little late. I'll be asleep.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Is it low?
Okay, I heard you there. Yeah. Maybe you gotta talk a little closer.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, I'll be asleep, man.
Man,
you know, we were up late last night.
Yeah. I was dropping my videos until, and I looked at the clock. It said 3 a.m. I said, "What is happening?" And I didn't feel it until I looked at the time. I was like, "Oh man!" So we just getting started. I was giving my opinion about the El Rayo versus Esau Cruz fight. So I wanted to ask you, because you did a great post fight and your show was lit this morning. And salute to KG, it was lit. So let me ask you. I want you to reiterate. What I just told the audience was El Rayo in his post fight called Esau a one-trick. He called him a one-dimensional fighter. And I said, man, he's not lying. So my question to you is, my question to the chat was, number one, is he right? I believe so. Number two, are we going to hear anybody that supports Esau Cruz call him a one-trick pony? Because that's absolutely what he is. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm thinking the hype for him, the rooting for him, is simmered down now. It's like, okay, he had some good fights. They gave him some opportunities, but this is the best he can do. For example, to my boxing heads, I'm in New York. We had a little situation. Now, I'm not even calling it a situation. We had a spark on the New York Knicks that happened a few years ago. Y'all remember Jeremy Lin? Remember him? Asian guy, right? He had one good game off the bench, and then they put him in. Somehow he made the starting lineup, and it was called Lin Sanity in my city. Y'all remember Jeremy Lin? Lin Sanity. And he was getting interviews, and I said, that's great. You know what was happening? I turned on the Knicks game on the TV. Every now and again, when Jeremy Lin would check in, boss, they would put the camera in the on the audience, and I never seen so many Asians at a Knicks game. And there's nothing wrong with that. And let me be clear. A lot of y'all don't even know what kind of Asian Jeremy Lin is. You don't know if he's Chinese, Korean, Japanese. You don't know. Matter of fact, he said what he's not. And in the audience, not all those guys was Chinese. They were all kinds of Asians, but they were showing up to support someone that looks like them. And that's fine. That is fine. I like seeing it. I said, man, look at all. I've never seen this many Asians in there like that. So that was okay.
I said to them, y'all just supporting him because he's Asian.
Because he's Asian. But when Serena Williams was making history at the U.S. Open here in New York, and Spike Lee and all these black actors and everyone started showing up that never showed up to tennis matches. That was a bad thing. But I digress. I don't want to go there. But here's my point. Jeremy Lin, his fame, his heat wave was it was just that. It was a heat wave. He was hot and it went away. Eventually he got traded. And I don't know what happened to him. But he had his 2 seconds of funk, as I call it. He had his 2 seconds of funk. He really did. He really did. And
what happened to him. Right now, he's 6 wings and a fried rice. That's where he is right now.
Well, this is Esau Cruz, but no one's gonna say it. But El Rayo's white. He's a one-dimensional fighter, right? And I think he's a one-trick pony, and no one will ever say that. But when he said that, I thought of Stormy, because I said Stormy always talks about 5 dimensions in the fighter. So I want you to elaborate on that, to remind the audience what that is.
All right. The dimensions of a fighter are as such. Everybody begins at 1 and graduate to 2 dimensions as a fighter. 1 is you're a person that can present yourself as such. Along the way, you should acquire some technical capability and learn defensive nuances to protect yourself and be able to further still continue on your growth as a fighter. A complete fighter at its threshold of becoming complete should have 3 dimensions. And those 3 dimensions are being able to be offensive, effective, defensive, proficient, and the ability to show something that's inside, you know? And when you get beyond that, you begin to enter the realm of someone being above average.
Right.
The 4th dimension is allowing you to be a person that has maybe some God-given talent and skill off the chart, whether it be speed, a little extra power, in that realm of where it's something that everybody else can't do. But when you elevate to the 5th dimension of it all, this up here is at its best, and you can transfer solving and resolving issues presented in the ring by whomever you face. You can still, there's no such thing as, like my brother Blue Blood likes to say, oh, that style was all wrong for him. And that kind of makes my ears cringe every time I hear that, because if you're a real complete fighter, a 5-dimensional fighter, no style is wrong for you.
Right.
You can take and meet any challenge. What can happen is a person can best you, and typically when they do, they have enough of those qualities to compete with you at your level. But then if they best you, it's every bit as good as your levels, and maybe then some. So, you know, this is why I don't throw around the term of calling fighters great. You know, fighters always say, oh, he's a great fighter. He's a very great fighter. I don't do that. You don't hear me say that a lot at all, because there's very few great fighters of today. You saw one last night, and look at how the people disrespected. You were witnessing one last night, and people disrespect him. And I'm not getting too far, because I'm not going to say what beyond what I'm saying on that right now. But that's an example. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. So with Esau being one-dimensional, that Valenzuela was totally correct. And it could sound disrespectful, but it's not if you know boxing and if you understand it to the levels of what we're talking about. And I have to say that that man, Valenzuela, understands. You know why he understands? He lost that first fight against Chris Colbert when many people felt he won, including himself.
Yeah.
But he rematched him. He went right back for that second opportunity and he rematched him. Something that a lot of fighters of today don't do. They don't rematch the guy who best them.
Right.
Some of these guys you look at are still prominent in the sport and you give them passes. Huh? Teofimo, Vasil Lomachenko, for example.
Yep.
Even Canelo. They are not polished, yet practiced in running it back to state the claim of who's better. So Valenzuela, not only did he run it back against Colbert, he stopped him in the rematch. When you do that, you've put an exclamation point on your position and why you felt like, hey, I never felt like he bested me the first time, but let me go out here and show you why in this return bout. And what happened? You see,
Yep.
You don't hear
Yep.
Chris Colbert asking for a third shot with him, do you? Oh, he might say something in passing.
After the fight, he was just talking, but he ain't campaigning.
Yeah. And that's all that is. That's lip
Right.
service. Because what has
Right.
he done since?
Nothing. He ain't
Exactly.
been seen. He's off social media. I don't know where he is.
If it's really in you, you back in the gym, you want your get back, you're doing things to show the world, hey, I ain't done yet.
Yep.
These guys find other things to do. Until they realize really nobody's paying attention, then they may start tweeting and all of that foolishness.
Right.
But that's exactly what it is, foolishness. So Valenzuela, when he was talking about Pitbull is not only the epitome of a one-dimensional fighter, he's gonna fall off very soon. You know why? You alluded to it earlier. You talked about him and a lot of what he's doing now having a great deal to do with youth and vigor. For someone with no boxing skills, it's not hard to teach someone how to throw a punch or a hook or something like that. And if you got power, if it lands, you can be effective. But how effective was he last night? And how effective was he in setting up anything to make a change during the fight? His whole thing was predicated on, maybe if I could get this guy to make a mistake, I could capitalize on it. But you need to be able to bring something else besides hope, huh? Because faith without works is what? Dead. And so he had no other options but to continue on through the fight. If he could have turned around, got out of the ring, and went back to the locker room to go home, he would have. But I say that he and a couple of other fighters have the greatest poker face because I could see in him the despair. I could see it. Maybe some people don't know what to look for, but I saw it. And I was like, man, if Rayo continues like he's doing, he's got this in the bag. And definitely in my cards, he had it in the bag because I had him 9 rounds to 3. I had it just like that. So when they gave this split decision kind of a deal, when it was being read, I was like, oh no, don't do this. Don't do that.
Don't do that to that kid.
And then it was in his favor. And then Pitbull has the gall to be out there talking about, oh, he should have got that and all of that. Dude, no, you need to go back and learn how to box. But it may be a little too late because they have allowed you to excel on the level that you have by not bringing much to the table. Guys like Rolly, who should not have been a world titleist to begin with,
right?
When you defeated him, if Tank Davis hadn't given you an opportunity to share the ring with him, less people would know about you.
That's
Another thing, you knocking people out on the PBC card, you were no more than what was like a little novelty. But Tank Davis made you of notoriety, and you don't give credit to him, just like Tyson Fury doesn't give credit to Deontay Wilder for giving him a shot. Nobody gave a damn about Tyson Fury. But then because, you know, people didn't like Wilder for whatever their reasons were. However, when Fury gets a victory over him, and it didn't begin that way, when they gave him a draw, all of a sudden Fury is great. When that second fight transpired, and we all know what happened there, they were making statues about the guy and everything. And Wilder was supposed to be a piece of crap. But what had Fury done outside of that? And who in the top 10 had he beaten outside of a uninspired Klitschko, whom he cheated out of his rematch? So come on, you know, this stuff is being written, but guess what? It's being written on a day-to-day basis, but ain't nobody fucking reading.
That's right.
How about that?
That's right.
It's being written. History as we speak. Devin Haney, Deontay Wilder. You can see it. Bud Crawford. History being written every day, but ain't nobody doing no reading. But it's funny how everybody can write, huh? Well, some of you can't write because you can't pull full sentences together. All these abbreviated words and so-called acronyms and everything, don't nobody even know what the hell you're talking about. That Ebonics stuff that, what's his name? Brazil said that you need an urban dictionary for. He talking about y'all. He ain't talking about Wilder. He was talking about you. So look in the mirror. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. He's a one-dimensional fighter who happens to have a huge country backing in Mexican people. But the last time I checked, El Rayo is what?
He's American.
But
he's American. Mexicano. He waved that flag, did he not? He said his parents moved to America for a better life. But he's American. His parents are Mexican. But he's American.
That's right. But his blood is Mexican. His birth certificate says American. Huh?
That's right. He don't need a green card to be here.
Birth certificate said American too. But Bruce Lee was Chinese and German. Yeah.
That's right.
How about that? Now, what else you got for me? Because Stormy B-Man is well read. Thank you very much. But some of y'all that want to put that to the test, please do so. Because class is always in session, both in life and in this studio.
There it is. So I might focus in on that a little more. That might be Tuesday's show. One Trick Ponies. Because I heard that about Deontay since he laced up gloves damn near. But I'm looking at Esau Cruz, and this is it. He cannot turn this around. I want y'all to know that. I said he can be outboxed when Cabrera outboxed him, but they robbed Cabrera on the Bud and Arrow undercard. I said, nah. He's a one-trick pony. He'll beat some guys that don't have a high-level IQ. And y'all were gassed off of the Rolly fight. I know, but Rolly was made to order. Oh, here's another fun fact. Y'all know Antonio Margarito is really American? You know he was born here, and then they moved back. His family moved to Mexico, where he grew up. But he was born here. Look it up. That's funny. So check it out, y'all. Being that I like Andy Cruz, I keep saying Andy Cruz. Being that I do like Esau Cruz's story. I'm glad that he was able to feed his family, make some money, get a hold of a belt. I'm happy for him. We're just talking boxing, though. This isn't malice. We're talking boxing. Because what happens is guys like that, when we know what we're looking at, certain people put them on a pedestal. And what saved for black fighters, you know, like freezing us out and one-trick ponies and all this other stuff. And even when we win close fights, if we're on the winning end of it, we got to run it back because it was a robbery of the other guy. That type of stuff. You'll never hear that about a guy like Esau Cruz. So let's transition over to Andy Ruiz, another fighter that I love his story. I'm happy for him because after the Parker fight, he was done. I think Bob Arum wasn't going to re-sign him. And he was done. He said, man, F boxing. And he got a phone call. Yo, man, I know you just fought a couple of weeks ago. But listen, we got an AJ fight for you. Big Baby Miller popped. And he was already warm. He just fought. So he took the fight, and we know what happened. We know what happened. So I don't see anyone else calling Andy Ruiz a one-trick pony, but whatever. He gets in the ring with Jarrell Miller last night. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell you all my picks from the fights that we're gonna discuss here. I picked El Rayo to beat Esau Cruz, and I picked Miller to beat Andy Ruiz. Here's why, and I said it in the video last night. The reason why was because Andy has not been in the ring for 2 years. And while he was out of the ring for those 2 years, he was going through a nasty divorce. He starts banging on an Instagram model.
Could you
so I don't know what his
imagine
mental.
if he hadn't been in a restaurant for 2 years?
Holy crap, he'd have looked better. You know, his physique, a lot of his physique has to do with his lifestyle, and I can't believe that people in his camp are not telling him, yo, bro, try eating better for 12 months and your physique will catch up to how you feel. Andy, I forgot how much he weighed on fight night, but Andy really, I'm looking at his body makeup. Andy's supposed to be about 230 pounds, maybe less. But he eats bad, and he has a dad body. He got rolls underneath his armpits. He's not supposed to look like that. But he's
great
talented.
to be around 225 to 230. He would be excellent.
He'd be excellent.
For some reason, the people that work with him, they can't work on drilling that to him, because fighting and fighters have a certain lifestyle. They do, that requires them to adhere to and be disciplined toward to be successful. Oh, you could be a fighter getting punched in the face. You're just another, what they used to refer to as a pug. But if you are disciplined and dedicated, you're keeping your weight around a certain area in order to be able to perform at your optimum. That makes a difference. And I'll tell you something else about that. The moment that you get to that point where you've made some sacrifices like that, you deal with, and I know you understand this, Drew, because you work out, you get to a point of clarity.
Yes.
Both in your mind and your body, where if you do touch something bad for you, you could see an instant reaction. Your sensories open up. You become more alive. It's like people who gave up smoking and everything. They say food tastes better to them and everything now because their taste buds and things like that were ruined from being a smoker. It's a reality. But see, again, we're talking about someone who has tried these things to be better or get better. When you don't even try, you're not going to get the best of what has. I didn't care for Andy coming out showing his hand was broken, all of that kind of stuff. You still got in there. Show me that you lost that extra 25 to 30 pounds that you should have lost. Then I might begin to look your way. Because that means that you've done something of discipline, and not doing it because you want to be body beautiful. Do it because it's better for you health-wise. And it'll assist in your performance.
Your look is only a byproduct of how you take care of yourself. And he hasn't taken care of himself in diet-wise for majority of his life. He's always been a chubby kid. And look, okay, I think boxing somewhat saved his life, because if he was just sitting at home, if he quit boxing and didn't get the AJ fight, he'd be 400 pounds right now. You understand? So boxing saved his life. What I'm saying is he needs to take it a little more serious. And if people around him love him, if his new girlfriend loves him, be like, yo, Andy, don't eat that. How about we go on this journey, 12 months, eat right, get a dietitian because you can afford it now. Don't eat no sugar. And I'm telling y'all, just a little as a sidebar, get sugar out of your diet for 14 days and then get back to me. You'll feel like a brand new person. I'm telling you, Andy needs that. There was no reason for him to still be up in there on that scale, like 280 pounds. I don't care if Jarrell comes in at 300 pounds. Jarrell Miller carries his weight different. He's just a bigger human being. But if Andy came in at 230 with the same hand speed, he wouldn't have been tired by round 5. And that's where it came in. Now, let me say this. Andy has gone the distance before, and surprisingly, cardio was never really a thing with him. That's not something we spoke about. We spoke about his physique, but we never talked about his cardio. When he's been busy, he could box with you for when he fought Joseph Parker. They wasn't talking about cardio. He was just in there throwing punches and banging. Some guys are just built, they just like that. But what we're saying is that 2 years out of the ring and what he went through in his personal life, probably still going through it, you know, changing coaches every 5 minutes, whatever he was doing. And then he gets the call for Jarrell Miller, who was coming off of a loss because he was overweight. A lot of that, I thought Dubois was going to beat him anyway. But Jarrell was out of the ring for a substantial amount of time, and he fought a tune-up or whatever, but you saw his physique. He was like super big. And he looked the same way when he took off his shirt versus Dubois. And I said, man, and Dubois, the general thought was that he was going to wear Dubois down and Dubois was going to quit. That's not that kid's nature. That's not what y'all thought it was. It's not what it is. But when I talk about Dubois, I'm going to dedicate a whole show to the Dubois family. What you thought it was, it's not. But we'll talk about that some other time. But Jarrell Miller, when he was on the podium, I'm looking at his face. I said, he lost weight. And when that man said, I lost 50 pounds in the camp, I said, wait a minute. Now it's heavyweight. You really don't have a fat camp in heavyweight unless you're like immobile, like ridiculously bariatric surgery big. That led me to believe that he was in camp working on his craft. And in the process, he lost 50 pounds. So it means he was in control of his eating and he was just working. And it showed. Look at his physique when he fought Dubois and look at his physique when he fought Ruiz. But leading up to the fight, those 2 years out of the ring, it hurt Andy. And I said, you know what? Jarrell going to win this fight. And in my opinion, he did. Because Andy Ruiz was in control the first 4 rounds. He was landing stuff. Wasn't really hurting Jarrell because that's how he fights. And then I noticed his mouth was hanging open. And I said, there it is. This is what 24 months on the shelf will do. His mouth was hanging open. And then Jarrell was pulling the Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. 30 seconds, he's banging him out. No Epstein. And he's racking up points. And I thought he did enough to win the fight. They called it a draw. They more than likely will run it back. And maybe the outcome would be different if Andy stays in the gym and gets his eating under control and comes in as light as he can. I don't know what it is with people trying to say, hey, man, this guy's 300 pounds. I'm going to come in at 280, man. No, man. That's not going to help you. You come in lighter so you can have more energy and be light on your feet. Daniel Dubois didn't do that with Jarrell. He said he's 350 pounds. I'm going to come in at my 250, 240, whatever it was. And he had all the energy in the world in the tail end of the fight in the championship rounds. And this was vice versa. My gosh, man. But Stormy, your thoughts on that? Wait a minute. What does Jimmy says? He says, YouTube has me blocked at your original channel, Drew. Now, Jimmy, this is my original channel. You talking about pep talk? What? Let me see what's going on. But Stormy, your thoughts on Jarrell Miller and Andy Ruiz?
In my video, I called my breakdown video, I called their they're meeting the battle of the two bigs. Both came in still too big, but a play on words there. But I thought it was a good matchup between two fringe contenders. Fights like that used to happen all the time, like when we saw Ray Mercer taking on the likes of Tim Witherspoon and stuff like that. And remember, the guy who always comes in the better of shape usually be the one who wins. And in this instance, I do believe it was Miller, because he had the camp and training experience with Bozy Ennis. It can make a difference, but will it make a difference long term? That's up to Miller, because Miller doesn't strike me as a person who likes to follow instruction and direction in order to have life change and correction. He's not of that ilk. But enjoy this while it lasts, because Bozy strikes me as a no-nonsense guy himself.
Right.
And he can try to tell that horse, there's a stream over here for drink. And the horse say, I want to run into the field. Huh? Yeah, it happens all the time. So with Andy, it's about my money. I need a payday. You know, my family done shook me down. My life decisions outside the ring have shaken me down. And that little taste of the glamour life I got after fighting Joshua a couple of times, you know, I like that. I like that. And so he wants more of that. But believe it or not, he's more of the same, like Miller, than one may want to admit to, even himself. So remember, right after he defeated Joshua, he got rid of his trainer that helped him get there.
Sure did.
That's very telling, revealing about who you're talking about. So do not misunderstand me. I don't care about guys like that. I care about guys who want to hearken down, become the best who they're going to be, and deal with what they have. Guys like Danny Dubois, you and I have talked about him behind the scenes. We know where that sense of what it is about him. Someone earlier in the chat, Derlin James, wrote, Dubois is a mystery to me. He's not a mystery to you. You don't read mystery books. I can tell you don't read mystery books because he appears to be a mystery to you. But someone who understands life, living, sacrifice, having people, parents in your life that work with you and want the best for you, and you in return don't want to disappoint them, and you do things that you couldn't do outside of what they instilled in you to be successful.
Right.
That's all about what it is. But again, did I not say earlier, you have to be well read to understand these things. And by the way, I sent Scrapbook what I sent you on Dubois' father.
Yeah.
And he says that he thinks he might know of the guy because when he was in New York, you know, where he was doing some of his selling and stuff like that. Scrapbook says here he may be aware of him. He said he's quite a character himself, Dubois' dad. But see, all of this stuff, it comes full circle, man. It comes full circle. This is how you know when some people, they're just on the outside of things. So Miller and Ruiz Jr., they're two coins on the side, different sides of the same currency. That's who they are. And you'll be talking about them right now, and then a year from now, nothing. Unless one of them decides to humble themselves to the point of that humility comes to the surface, and then they allow themselves to be, you know, taken in a correct path. Because sometimes life does do that with certain individuals. It can happen, but it's a long shot, but it can happen. because it really comes down to the guy having to want that.
Yes.
You can't want it for them. You can't impose it on them. They have to want it. You ever seen a person that come up to you and, well, I know you have in your line of work, but in a most serious way, they say, "Excuse me, sir, I'm lost. I'm trying to get to here and here, but this is what I've done and this is where I've arrived. Can you help me?" Do you not feel compelled to do everything that you can to help that person? Because there's something about that humility in them that they come to you in that humbleness. And it's like you just naturally want to give, because it's the nature. You can relate to it. But it's those people who think they know everything. People think they got it, under control and everything. You got it under control, but you high. You got it under control, but you drunk. You got it under control, but you done fell 8 ways from Sunday, your last 3 or 4 jobs in a row. But you got it under control. No, you're out of control.
That's right.
And someone needs to tell you that you're out of control. Because why? Being honest with you, maybe you hit that wall and bump your head and some sense get knocked into you. And if that doesn't help, then it's God's work after that.
That's right.
And I'm far from God. You understand? Yeah.
I'd like to take a moment to shout out Miguel. I just had to go to Jimmy Bernard's channel, who's been a subscriber to me forever with a wrench. And I just checked on all 3 of my channels. On Bear Cave, he's fine. On Pep Talk, he's fine. And that's why I air from two channels for things like that. He's wrenched. I just went to his page. I have him as hidden. I never blocked him, ever. Why the hell was he hidden? That doesn't make any sense. But shout out to Miguel.
Shout out, Miguel! Miguel!
You doo-doo chaser. You pillow biter. What is wrong with you, dude? What is wrong with you? Unsubbing people, taking wrenches, blocking people. Listen, to all my content creators, you should have at least 3 channels. And when you do decide to go live, air on all 3 of them. Because of Miguel. I've never blocked Jimmy Bernard. Are you kidding me? I just went and it said unhide. I'm like, I never hit him. What is going on? But shout out to Miguel. I'm taking notes, good man.
Miguel! Miguel!
You're gonna have to pay the man, but boxing, please. Let's move. Oh, Cameron Fields, you're a therapist, man. Salute to you, sis. Much love, man. I appreciate that. Hey, black people need a lot of therapy. But anyway, but salute to you in your field, sis, for real. Chief Wildfire, King Coleon, salute. If I miss you in the chat, just know that I love you, man, for real. So let's move on to Jared Anderson and Mike Bakole. Now, I was very clear in my video, but I'll be happy to reiterate it. All right. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave out the things that I noticed personally, as far as attitude and demeanor, although that does play a huge role in what happened. I want to just talk about strategy and the business of boxing. And I'm going to explain to you why this happened to him. Jared Anderson is not it. Period. He's not it. He's not that guy. He never was that guy. And I was on the fence about him. You know why? How many times you heard me say, hey man, this guy's doing what he needs to do against people he's supposed to do it to. But I can't gauge him based off of his level of competition. Y'all heard me say that. I said that about Tank. I said, yo, looks nice. But there's about 5 guys that was around him in 135. He just never did it. That's all I was saying. You never heard me say Tank was trash. You never heard me say Jarrett was trash. What they like to say is untested. They lined Jarrett up with a bunch of dudes he was supposed to beat. Until he had a late replacement in the name of Charles Martin. Y'all remember that fight? And Charles Martin came in there on 2 weeks' notice. He was out of shape. And what got him through that fight was his ring IQ and his experience got him through that fight. And do y'all remember? I think it was round 10. First of all, you're getting an out of shape, a boxing out of shape heavyweight former champion in Charles Martin. You're getting him on 2 weeks' notice. First of all, that's a name. That's a name. That's why they called him. He was out of shape. That's why they called him. Jarrett was supposed to get him out of there in about 4 or 5 rounds. After round 5, I said, this is a problem. I said, why is he still... And Charles Martin's my guy, but this is business. He knows what it is, and he knows why they brought him in there. I'm a name, and they're going to try and, get me out of there. But after round 5, I said, Charles ain't supposed to be here, man. Did AJ fool with Charles Martin? They did everything to him. He was on my show. He explained it. They did everything to him. And by the time AJ got in the ring with him, he said, I ain't gonna fool with this guy. I'm gonna get him out of there. Now but see, the thing is, Charles Martin had a camp. He had moles in his camp, but Charles Martin had a camp. As a matter of fact, remember Stormy, when Charles said they brought in these big African dudes and one of them broke up his ribs? It might have been Bakole.
I was gonna say that.
It might have been him. I bet you know what? I'm gonna call Charles. I'm gonna ask him. Yo, was one of those dudes you were sparring on the week of the fight? Was one of them Bakole? Watch him say yes. And if that,
I bet you it was Bakole.
I bet you it was him. He said he was one of these big African guys. I was like, huh? I bet you it was Bakole. For those of you that don't know, I think Charles said he had a broken rib when he fought AJ. So I bet you it was Bakole way back then. But now, once he went past round 5, I'm looking at Jarrett like, yo, he's supposed to get him out of there. So now I'm watching the fight. Charles still there. Round 6, he's still there. Round 7, he's still there. Round 8, round 9, round 10. Charles started putting punches together, puts Jarrett on the back foot, and his eyes got big, and he looked confused. And I said, what is this? Oh, my God. I said, no, I don't trust him. Now, he won the fight. But do you remember after the fight? First of all, leading up to that fight was the Roy Jones interview. What if Big Baby ain't asked for all of this? But I'm 23, and I said, wait a minute. Shades of Oliver McCall right there. I don't like that. There's something wrong here. And then I'm finding out, I thought the Queens of the Ring, shout out to the Queens, I thought they were joking when they say, man, he got a service animal. He has a pet dog to calm him down. I said, why are they playing with this dude? They said, no, for real, he does. And I'm looking at ESPN, I said, oh shit, his dog has a vest. So he suffers from depression. And I said, wait a minute.
And in that vest that the dog got pockets. And in that pockets is some vials of pills. And in them vials of pills is medication. Maybe some for the dog for having to deal with his ass, and some for him so he'll know what to do now regarding the damn dog.
Now listen, I know this might sound like hate. It's not. I'm not talking about the things he said. I might talk about that tomorrow. And there's a reason why I'm saying these things. I'm put it like this, y'all. I'm not lying on the young man. I'm making my case as to why I didn't grandstand on it. I didn't say, oh, he's not. I didn't make a video every 5 minutes somewhere, oh, he's not good, he's not good. I didn't need to do all of that. You know why? I was still on code. Was I not? This is the first time y'all hear me saying this. Wait. I did do a video about when he broke down in front of Roy because I wanted y'all to see it. I'm like, yeah, I see this. And I asked y'all, do y'all trust him? A lot of y'all were like, no. But I didn't wish no harm on him. I wasn't out here talking about I hope he lose. I wasn't doing that. I said, you know what? It's gonna be what it's gonna be. But I know I didn't like what I saw, and I wouldn't put my eggs in that basket. And then I saw the Charles Martin fight. I said, nah, man, he's supposed to get Charles out of there. He didn't do it. I text Charles. I said, bro, if you had a full 2-3 month camp, you beat him. And he texted me, I know. And I firmly believe him. Me and Stormy talked about this. Somebody told him, yo, take your foot off the gas. Don't F up the money. Now, let me tell you what happened and why I believe this was a trap fight.
When they called Bakole, he answered the phone and was like, who is this?
Who is this?
What do you want? Get the hell out.
What do you want with me? Who is this? Jared Anderson? Oh, Big Puncher. Yeah, I want that fight. Man, he was smiling the whole time. I said, Jared's in trouble. Now, let me take it a step back. This kid, man, when he didn't get it done with Charles Martin, well, to me, after the Charles Martin fight, when they put the camera backstage and he's laying on his mother's bosom, I'm like, you would have thought he lost. And I said, there's nothing about his aura that I like. Me and Healer was in Vegas because he fought on a Wilder Fury 3 undercard. And he was walking through the MGM eating French fries. And I looked. And when he looked at me and a couple other people regular, I was like, oh, there go Jared Anderson. He accelerated. Like he wanted to get away from us. And I said, oh, you don't want to stop and wave to the people that are supporting you? That was odd to me. That was very odd. And I said, you know something? There's something wrong with that kid. I said it before all of this security dog stuff. I said, there's something. I told Healer. I said, yo, he ain't right. And I went like this. I said, he ain't right. There's something not right with him. And I said that. Lo and behold, I ain't know it was this bad. Now, Tate Jones in the building. Now, let me explain something to y'all. Y'all heard me just say Charles Martin's ribs was broke up when he fought Anthony Joshua, right? We're suspecting, because he got on this platform and said, yeah, Tay, you was right. He got on this platform and said they brought in these giant African dudes. One of them broke up his ribs. Now, I don't know if it was Bakole. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Now, here's what y'all don't know. Bakole's been overseas for the whole time. Everybody knows who he is. There's a video where he beat the crap out of Joe Joyce. It's floating around on YouTube somewhere. I never knew that. I wasn't paying attention. See, I wasn't paying attention. Pardon my American ignorance. I wasn't paying attention to this guy. I knew the face, but I wasn't paying attention. But everybody, you know what you can relate him to? Vernon Forrest before he fought Shane Mosley. He was around. Do y'all know he had an identical record? He might not have fought the same names, but he had an identical record of Shane Mosley by the time they fought. He had an identical record. And everybody knew who he was. Nobody wanted some. Floyd ain't want no smoke. Shane put it off as long as he could. Everybody at welterweight knew who he was. He was a decorated amateur. He was a problem.
I'm willing to believe it was Bakole because I'm looking at his box rec right now.
Uh-huh.
And roughly by the time when Martin and Joshua fought, what was that, 2018? Something like that?
Yeah, it was 2018.
That's roughly around the time he fought Mike Hunter in October of 2018. So, and that was the first American and the first guy on his, resume that was on that type of a level of recognition. So more than likely, it might have been Bakole. More than likely.
I believe it.
Because he's old enough too. He's 32 years old. Anthony Joshua is now currently 33. Yeah.
Man.
No, Joshua's 34. Yeah.
Well, Bakole's been around. All those guys know who he is. AJ know who he is. All of those guys. Joe Joyce, all of those guys know who he is. He just never had a breakout fight. And guess what? You know why I'm calling this a trap fight? You just heard me say, pardon my American ignorance, right? How many people in the American public even know that kid? Like I said, I know his face. And I knew the name and I knew the face, but I never really saw him work. Matter of fact, when he fought Michael Hunter, that's when I recognized him. And that was stopped over, something minuscule. He had an injury. But after the fight, he wants to run it back. You see? Bakole's a whole problem out here. And guess who knew? Eddie Hearn knew. Frank Warren knew. And right now, those two names I just mentioned, those are the powerhouses in boxing. They ain't dealing with Al Heyman. So Turk got the deep pockets. He's like, yo, I'm trying to make these big cards. Well, you got this American kid over there. I know who could beat him. Bakole.
Yeah, AJ fought Charles Martin in April of 2016. So the timelines are very good for that to have been who it was.
Thank you, CJ Robinson. Yeah, you're right. It was 16, then it was Klitschko, then it was Paul. Okay.
Yeah, AJ he fought Martin in 2016. In April of 2016.
The point is, he was a best kept secret. He couldn't, and thank you, DOG. Bakole couldn't even get a fight over there, y'all. Did y'all know that?
That's what I'm saying. And see, that's what they do. They do that kind of thing.
Yep.
This is why people should be, listen, oh my goodness, this would make for a great show, Drew, you and I can do in the future about why it's important for our people to start looking at people from other places in the world. If you like the sport of boxing, start checking out people who are on the other side of the water, because when you do that, not only do you educate yourself on what's really happening in the sport, but it's a great way to follow up and be brushed up on the participants of the sport. Because somebody could be setting the world on fire somewhere else, but Western journalists and media don't cover it like that for you guys.
That's right.
And I think part of the reason that they do that, they like to keep you in the dark on something, because then when they do say something about it, they feel like they're the ones that's breaking the news for you or putting you up on game. But when you're well practiced and well studied, you already know, and then you know even more so when they're lying to you or they're trying to angle stories and stuff like that. You'd be like, no. This guy's been around a long time. He's been blah, 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 just like what we do. And see, that's another reason that we're hated on. Especially, and when I find stuff out, don't I share it with you?
Absolutely. You don't waste no time.
I don't hold it back like I try to be like, I'm the only one that know this. I be trying to let you know, hey, man, watch out for this guy. Watch some film on this guy. Keep your eye out for him. That's what I do, because it's like, that's why it amazes me that certain individuals who used to be allies, who have gone a different way and everything, and some of them even being from that part of the world, it's really disgusting that they would come at us the way that they do, because we just keep it real 100%. And as I've tried to share with Junior, and this is not going in on Junior at all, being a regional champ, being a champion of somebody from your block don't mean nothing in an international worldwide sport. It don't. That's why, and I shared with you the common link about a lot of the fighters from New York, right? And some of them who have had their successes, but all of them have had something to make them fall off and not be able to hold and maintain
every last one,
go the distance. And there's that comes from that type of mindset, though. You have to have the mindset of someone that wants more than what's in front of your door. You got to have that. Malcolm X coined that phrase, you cannot be what you cannot see. He coined that because it meant, like, if you're in dire straits, in the ghetto and everything, How could you ever possibly hope to be a doctor, an attorney, some type of veterinarian or something, and you don't even have that in your community? You don't have it around you. So you can't look across the street and say, that's Mr. So-and-so, but he works for Streets and Sand. That's Mrs. So-and-so, and she is an attorney at law. This person down the street is a dentist. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, what do people aspire to be? A bunch of burnouts and people who smoking all the time and standing out on the stoop, gathered in groups on the corner? I don't want that.
That's real, man. And salute to Sure Will, my brother. Says salute Drew and Stormy. And salute to you, good brother, man. Much love and appreciation.
Salute, Trill Will. Salute, bro.
Yeah, man. That's interesting what you say about New York fighters. Outside of Sugar Ray, you know, we ain't have a real banger. I mean, we could say Mike Tyson, but that was something bound to happen. Well, that's a whole conversation I could do a whole show on. You know, but
see, what happens is people get, I'm gonna tell you what it is. They fall in love with the adulation. Everybody patting them on the back. Oh man, you good. You're gonna be something one day. But nobody is trying to tell you, hey Joe, now that you've done this, why don't you go over there to England and meet some of them guys? Go to Australia and meet some of them guys. Guess what? Devin Haney became undisputed champion by doing what?
Working.
Even over to Australia.
Yep.
Would Tank Davis have gone to Australia?
Absolutely not.
Would Shakur Stevenson have gone to Australia?
Nope.
You see these guys? Sabril Matias, any of those guys? Regis Prograis, would they have gone? No, they would not. They would not. Some of them might now because they're starting to get it a little bit or something. But this is what we're talking about. You could be a big fish in a small ass pond. The only thing you'll get is on somebody's hook. But when you go out into the ocean, they have to go vastly out in there to find you, don't they? They have to weed through a whole lot of schools of fish. And some of those fish may be more dangerous than you. And they might get got by those fish trying to be fishermen.
Yep.
It's the rule of life. But see, if you're well read, you understand and you know these things. It is not something hard. Life is, like you say, the universe is 360. It's right there. But some people are looking through life through a keyhole, man. A keyhole.
That's unfortunate. They're looking through keyholes trying to steal points. But what's the point in stealing the instruction manual on how to drive a Lamborghini when you never drove stick? Idiot.
Check this out. One of my favorite Kung Fu films, The Seven Grandmasters. You might have seen and heard of that one. The plot of the movie is about Pai Mei before he became noted as Pai Mei. But he had this special style that he did. But when he was young, his teacher gave him this Kung Fu manual. But a renegade student stole some pages out of the manual. And he was actually trying to steal the manual one day when Pai Mei was working out. And he came and tried to take the book, and they were fighting over it. And the guy ripped the book and thought he had the majority of the book, but he had only a section of the pages. So Pai Mei only was able to get as good as those pages that he kept. And the other guy studied that manual to his extent that he had. So he was always following Pai Mei, trying to frame him when he went through the provinces, challenging people and defeating them, becoming the master of, you know, the areas that he challenged in. And finally they had a face-off at the end. But when he saw the guy's fighting style, he recognized, oh, that must be the other style that came from the book. You know, It was pretty good in that aspect. But see, having a portion of it not having the full study of what we're talking about. It leads to this like a little bit of confusion. But you can elevate beyond that when you really understand that this is how it works. But a lot of people, I'm telling you, life can be so simple at times, but we make it difficult. We make it extremely and acutely difficult for ourselves. And sometimes it's just through simple disobedience.
That's a problem. When it's simple disobedience, that's man, we can go on a whole nother show about that.
Yeah.
When you allow ego to get in the way, nobody wants to discipline you for the sole purpose of disciplining you. And for people that do that, everyone has had a crazy supervisor that love writing people up. Everyone has dealt with that to some capacity at some point. And if you never have, I hope you never go through that. Those people are just sick. But for the most part, we're not talking about the extreme. Like for parents, for example, there are abusive parents out there, but for the most part, normal parents, they scold you because they don't want you making a mistake. Which is why I grew up in New York and don't have a criminal record. Because, the parents are supposed to get that out of you. But when you're disobedient because that's what you just want to be. All my friends that were like that and went against the grain for what their parents were trying to instill in them, they're in jail. And I'm not even kidding. They went against the grain and look where it got them. You see what I mean? But not to get too far off, but it's all relevant when we're talking about with Jared Anderson. And I'm going to talk about Bakole tomorrow. I've nicknamed, so if you hear it anywhere else, I've nicknamed Martin Bakole the Smart Bomb. Smart Bomb Bakole. Because you know what? Jared Anderson, his team failed him. His team failed him. You're supposed to have somebody in your camp. When a fighter's brought to your table, you're supposed to have somebody there to say, hold on, before we agree to that, let me do some homework on this guy. And we're in the age of the internet. You could Google the guy, pull him up, make a phone call, and it would have took no more than a day to find out that this guy wasn't nothing to play with. And you have to make a decision. Do I just hang on to my undefeated record and let Jay Prince bring me along until I get a title shot somewhere? Maybe I'll get a Usyk. I'll slide through the front door and get a Usyk before Usyk's leaving. And I can afford. Remember when we said I wanted to see he beat one big baby. The next big baby should have been Jared Anderson, and I was ready to call Daniel Dubois the baby killer, because we was waiting for Jared Anderson's breakout fight. This was supposed to be, and I told everyone if he beats Bakole, he's getting full credit for this. Because what I'm not going to do, I wasn't going to let the American audience cut Bakole down if Jared got him out of there. I'd have been like, no. Bakole was the real deal, and Jared got him out of there. But there was no part of that fight that Jared won. I don't even want to see it ran back. It was a wash. And Jared Anderson doesn't have Errol Spence credentials. There was no part of the fight. Well, Errol did win one round, and Errol got stopped. But listen, man. Errol did all of that to get to the Bud fight, and then failed. Jared didn't do anything remotely close. That's why we want a rematch with Errol, because he deserves that. Look, Jared don't deserve that, but what does he do now? Are they going to call him a one-trick pony? And how he rebounds from this is going to define him. It's going to define his career. He has to earn a rematch. He has to put together a string of victories to say, okay, now I'm ready for Bakole. And still, we might not believe him. But right now, outside of Bakole, what does he do now? So he took the turkey money. It was probably his biggest payday ever. But somebody in his camp failed him. And by the way, Sugar Hill was in his camp.
Whoa!
What? You heard me. Sugar Hill was in his camp. Oh my God, the web we weave. Isn't it all coming out? So I watched Anthony Durrell lose to Caleb Plant. That was Sugar Hill. Tyson Fury just got pinballed by Usyk. That was Sugar Hill. And now we got this with Jared Anderson. That was Sugar Hill. salute to Jimmy Bernard, my brother. In that super chat, much love. He said, salute Drew, thank you for unhiding me. YouTube, aka Miguel, is on that COVID FBS. Sensei, I would like to do the head twist clip to YouTube, Miguel. Great show, man. Salute to you, good brother. Salute to you. Damon, salute, bro. Man, did y'all know that Sugar Hill was in his camp? So things are making sense. What happened to, I taught him how to turn his punches. You know, he should be getting more knockouts. Huh? He had to turn it. The elbow got to be up here when he throws a hook. He had to turn the punches. Yeah, well, Bakole was turning punches. But more on that tomorrow, because I'm not done with that. Because that's what the show's going to be about tomorrow. That's what the show's going to be about tomorrow. Because his camp failed him.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
Oh my God. Oh, I just broke a sweat. Yo, I can't, bro. Oh man. Oh, chill. Oh my God.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
That's especially for Jimmy Bernard.
Yo, play that one more time. Play that one more time.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
He twisted his intro all the way around. Yo.
Oh my goodness.
I can't, bro. That's funny, man. But it was a setup fight. Tay Jones was the one saying it too. Tay was like, yo, they don't know. And you know what? It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Did his team really care about him? Do you think? And then here's why I pointed out Sugar Hill. Y'all know how I feel about him. But here's why I pointed out about Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill was over there with Tyson Fury. He knows all of those guys. He knows those guys. He knows what's going on. You mean to tell me when Sugar Hill was in his camp and they brought Bakole, they said, yo, Turk out a Sheik, automatically you see dollar signs. This is retirement money. And I don't know what he made, but it may have been his biggest payday. And they said, okay, well, who's the guy? Martin Bakole. Oh, man, you got this. And Sugar Hill's probably in the back like, y'all gonna take that? Okay, I'll hang around, but this is how much I want. So Sugar Hill is probably satisfied with his payday. Very satisfied.
Mr. Sugar Hill, we don't have to take our shirts off to have a good time.
Man. We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time. Man, that's a fail. Sugar didn't tell him, yo, man, you sure you ready for this Bakole? Maybe he thought that Jared had the talent to do it. Bro, there's no way. Now, mind you, Sugar Hill's supposed to be this boxing mind, right? He was supposed to step in and say, don't take this fight, bro. Don't do that. Do not do that. let's just ride this Ohio wave and maybe we could sneak in a Usyk fight. I could take you losing that because there's a potential you can get some belts. But this guy right here, I'm telling y'all, they set Jarrett back because he comes back to do what against who right now?
Listen,
And we don't know what his
familiar, doesn't it? Them guys from the Crunk, huh? Since Emmanuel's not here, what they doing, huh? Did we not see something like this, huh? Remember the COVID shutdown? Who were a part of that? Sugar Hill,
Jarrett.
And
wait, hold on.
The universe is 360, like
degrees.
You said. Karma is a MF, ain't it?
Wait a minute, Stormy. Wasn't the news that we heard was that they shut down camp because Jared was tearing up Fury? And then when people were asking him, bro, you got COVID? He was like, no, and he's making all these faces. But I'll touch on that tomorrow. But wait a minute. Jared should know who Bakole is too, now that I think about it. He's supposed to know this stuff.
How about this? Remember when they were talking about Jared was having his way with Fury and all of that? Yeah. What if, because there are stories that come out of the gym all the time about, somebody get leaked or whatever, but, somebody got the better of somebody. Stuff like that has always happened. However, what if the stories that were getting back to us about Jared having his way and making his way wasn't really true?
It's a possibility.
Maybe they were saying that because they were trying to build his confidence up. Maybe he was over there really getting his ass whooped. Huh?
It's a possibility.
Yeah, because I'm going to say that simply for the reason of what you and I have seen of him in his own matches don't match what they've been saying about him.
Don't, man.
It doesn't.
Don't. Now, listen. We wouldn't be saying this. Let me tell y'all something. If the Charles Martin fight never happened, I'd still be saying, hey, man, he ain't been tested. But the reality is he is. Charles Martin tested him, y'all. And to me, although he got the nod, I'm looking at that fight like, yo, if Martin had a 2-month camp and was in shape, he'd have whooped Jarrett's behind, y'all. He'd have whooped his behind. He'd have whooped on him. So, more on Jarrett tomorrow. This was his first real test and he failed miserably. There was no part of this fight that he won, man. I mean, Bakole was in there looking like a prime George Foreman. Jeez Louise, crazy stuff. And, he's out there joking with Eddie Hearn. I got some clips I'm going to put up for them all. I'm like, okay, all right, Eddie they smiling in your face. He done smiled in his face and said, okay, yep. Put your ass right in there with Bakole. Man, goodness, man, he's done. Well, let's go to the main event. Bud versus Madrimov. Okay. I'm already reading comments. Did y'all know there's people talking about Madrimov got robbed? Now, I'm going to tell y'all straight up. I watched the fight. I scored it. I did have it a draw. I had it a draw. I'm going to watch it again. When I uploaded my video, I had it a draw. But let me say this, though. I think that was another trap fight they set for Bud. They tried to get Bud, y'all. They really did. I did have it a draw. But all close fights aren't robberies. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all this, man. If it's a black fighter and I call it a draw, I'm just going to say tie goes to the runner like in baseball. I'm just going to say Bud won. You know what? Let's just say that. Bud won. How about that? They got it right. When I put up my video last night, I said, man, I had it a draw. You know what? But I'm going to stop doing that. Because I'm reading these comments on these various posts. They're saying they got robbed. They're saying Madrimov got robbed. No, he didn't. Yo, why is every time a black fighter has a close fight, they automatically assume the other guy won? It's a close fight. He lost. So since it's like that, when I feel it's a draw, I'm just gonna say that the black fighter won. And I'm on record saying that. I don't care. I don't care. We got to do everything. We gotta do rematches. Floyd Mayweather is the A side for the last decade. He had to run it back with Castillo. Had to run it back with Chino Maidana. Stop this crap, man. So last night I uploaded the video. I did score the draw. But nah, F that. Now I'm saying Bud won. Because I'm reading these comments and it makes me sick, man. Now Madrimov, he fought the best fight that he could fight. Exactly, Brown. Exactly. His feet, he didn't stay still. He had a herky-jerky style. He was in shape. He was a little bulky. LBZ, what up? He was a little bulky. But here's the problem. Muscles don't win you a fight. Case in point, Bakole has a dad body. Jared Anderson's built like an athlete. A Division I athlete at that. Bud was Bud, man. Bud was Bud. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else, man. It gets to the point where you can tell what kind of fight people are watching. I'm watching the fight to see what happens. Some people hone into their favorite fighter to see what he's doing, and they ignore what the opponent is doing. I'm watching it from all angles. I bet y'all didn't realize, damn, what round was it? Bud went to that dude's body. You know he don't like it to the body, right? All those muscles, he didn't like it to the body. Bud clapped him at the body 2 times, the round ended. When he turned around and walked to the corner, he did like this. I was like, there it is. Bud should have went to the body from round 1. But this dude, he was light on his feet, and I'm listening to the commentary, and everyone's saying, oh man, he couldn't do nothing with him. Stay away from Canelo. Let me tell y'all something. F Canelo. Let me ask y'all a question. Is Canelo bouncing around like Madrimov is? No. Canelo stands in the pocket. He has excellent head movement. You think Bud's going to do that and stay in the pocket with him? No, Bud's going to be moving around him. Stop it. The dude had a herky-jerky style. He fought a way above average fight. He fought a better fight than people thought. It took Bud a second to figure him out. I scored it a draw, but now I'm saying Bud won because of what I'm reading. Now Bud ain't ready for Canelo. Now Bud lost the step. You should man, they always do this. They always do this, man. They always do this to us. I'm tired of. I shouldn't even said it here. I scored it. I shouldn't even said my score. I should have just BS y'all. This is great, but you know that's just not how I'm built. But now I'm saying it because now I'm gonna openly be biased on purpose. So now I'm saying Bud won, man. That's crazy. That guy had a very annoying style. He's what you call a spoiler. Bud couldn't catch up to him the way he could, but you know, he was throwing straights. He was catching Bud in a few good shots. Bud took him well. In fact, Bud hurt him like 3 times during the fight. Bud was never hurt. Bud hurt him. But I'm just so sick of the crap, man. I'm so sick of the crap. And I knew it was coming. They do it to all of us. They do it to all of us. So now I'm reneging on my video. F that, Bud won. Just because. You guys make me sick, man. This is stupid. And but you know, I'm not gonna hate on Madrimov. He did the best he could. But I knew they were gonna do that. If Bud lost, they were gonna discredit him. He won. No matter how I scored it, he won, and they still discredited him. Bud can't win for losing, but you know what? Guess what, Bud? It's not only you. It's your people, these people. They always do that to us. But Stormy, you go ahead on that.
Well, let me start by saying shout out to Eddie Hearn, who was wrong once again. He had said that Madrimov was going to knock Bud out, and everything's going to be the first person to tuck Bud away and put him in a blanket and all of that stuff. And what I noticed more than anything, because, you know, I talked about the body shots and stuff like that. Guys like Madrimov don't go to the body. They don't do that. That's not a part of their repertoire. And then when you do it to them, guys like him, Triple G, who is his original clone donor. Yeah, when you put those guys in there like that and you go to their bodies, it shakes up everything about what they do. Because their mindset, the European mindset is always with brawn. It's never with brain. But Bud is special in the sense that he has fused brain and brawn with technical proficiency and the ability to be talented, mixed with athleticism as well, to become a 5-dimensional fighter. At 37 years of age, with none of the pitfalls that happens to befall a lot of fighters of today, guys who drink, they party, they get woefully out of shape and overweight. He's never done those things.
That's right.
So he's preserved in his 41 fights with 30 plus knockouts and hasn't taken the damage that a lot of other guys have in a shorter career. Now, when he was in there with this young man, he didn't have to go and prove like that man in that article from Boxing News 24 said, Chris Williams, that chump, when he went and said that Bud has to do X, Y, Z and all of this in order to prove that he can get a fight with Canelo. All Bud needed to do was win, baby.
That's it. That's all you need to do.
If we're in a race and I cross the finish line before you by what they call it, a hair or an eighth of an inch or whatever, however they measure
something crazy, like another second, something like that.
When you do that, I won. So you could cry that, man, it was really close and the judges seemed no. I won. I crossed the finish line before you. Bud crossed the finish line last night by finishing up strong in the championship rounds. This young man took it easier in the championship rounds. A lot like Vasily Lomachenko, right?
Yeah.
Oh, how funny that these things happen this way, that they seem to share not only the DNA of, you know, the lack of melanin and everything, but they seem to share that brawn over brain mentality too.
That's right.
See, I'm gonna tell you something, and I said this about Bud in my post-fight show. As quirky a personality that he has, as weird as he can be as a fighter, he still is one of the best at what he does. And you cannot take that away from him. He is still beating guys that are younger, stronger, and he's able to do this because everything that he's garnered throughout his career, he has formulated a library of references where he can go into each subject and pull out something that's needed for the moment. Last night, he did it in the first round. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was asked this by Abel Mahari on the show earlier today to call in. But, you know, if you notice, midway through the first round, he changed from orthodox to southpaw right away.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know why he did that?
No.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why he did it. Now, some people were saying that maybe he should have given Madrimov a different look late in the fight because that was something that he had did early, and maybe going back to that would have been, you know, another change that Madrimov wouldn't have been ready for. No. Bomac talked about it in the post press fight conference because he was asked, do you think that you should have told Bud to go back to being orthodox later in the fight? And Bomac said no. He went to the southpaw position because he felt he was going to be, you know, in a better place being as southpaw. And he's like, I feel like if I would have said something like that to him, it could have thrown him off. And he have him do something that he didn't want to do or be uncomfortable doing, then that would be, you know, a disruptive element in the game plan that they had for what they wanted to do. But I'm going to tell you why he changed. He changed because Madrimov's jab was fast enough to get home. Do you remember he went about 4 rounds with Kell Brook before he started switching up on Kell Brook?
Yeah.
And then he caught Kell Brook, and then the fight was over pretty much like that. But against Madrimov, who had good feet, and they trained to box with Bud, use feints and everything. And so when he changed to southpaw, that made Madrimov have to do something that Bud could be more familiar with, fighting an orthodox fighter. Now understand, Madrimov has been known to turn southpaw himself, but he never did it, did he?
No.
Do you know why he didn't do it? Because Bud is the master. He is the pupil. And he didn't have enough experience in there with a man of experience. So what he had to do was slow the fight down, even though he was the younger and maybe even fresher, quicker guy. He had to slow it down to the point where I got to feint him and try to get him offset through that type of broken rhythm to be able to do what I want to do. But what he didn't anticipate was that Bud is not a gambler. Right. He's a high stakes player. A high stakes player will wait for opportunities to present themselves because they always will. And what opened up for him? The body punches.
Yep.
When the body punches opened up and he didn't respond well or in kind to them, Bud already knew he had his ace in the hole with the body shots. Now, what Bomac could have reminded him of is drop a few more of those in there, getting toward the end of each round or earlier in the round when the round first begins, to do it simply because that's going to offset him. Remember, the guy with only 10 fights, he hasn't been going the distance with a lot of his opponents. He's been stopping guys.
Right.
So when they got into deep waters, he slowed down his thinking process even more because he didn't want to take certain risks in there against a guy that could get him out of there. And if you don't think that Bud could get him out of there, understand this aspect of how Madrimov fought. He didn't take risks. He didn't.
Right.
If Bud didn't have something to get rid of him, he would have taken those risks. He would have gone in there and go for broke. But he didn't. He got hit with a couple of shots during that fight, over the course of the fight, that made him rethink some shit. No matter what you tell him, he was not going to press beyond what he now thought of as an imminent threat. So therefore, all Bud needed to do was stay out front for the fight. He didn't have to gamble or risk or go for broke because he was winning the fight. And that's the difference between when you understand high level boxing and two guys who are just boring. You understand? That wasn't boring. It was a chess match being played out, and both men had ways to attack the other, but one was more experienced and he was allowing that guy to try to make the mistake, and the guy didn't step out to take the risk to make the mistake. And so therefore that guy who was protecting that queen the way he's supposed to, he warded off the threat. And he basically, I won't say coasted into victory, but that's what ended up allowing him to win like he did. And Hearn could get mad all he want and be disappointed in the judging and this and that, but Bud won because the other guy who was the champion didn't really turn the challenge away. He basically let it go to the scorecards, being happy that he didn't get stopped, that he didn't get knocked out. And then for those who have heard the story about Bud having to change the gloves in the locker room because the gloves that he wanted to use, he had another equipment situation with those gloves. But I'm going to say this about the gloves. Certain fighters like to wear certain kinds of gloves because they like not only how the gloves protect their hands and the padding and things like that, but also when they punch, how they can have more authoritative effect with their punching. The Grant gloves that he used is not the gloves that he likes. He likes to use those Everlast gloves, which are a little bit different. Mike Tyson used to like to use the Everlast gloves, but being a puncher, you would have thought that he would have preferred Reyes, but he didn't. He didn't like Reyes gloves. He liked the other gloves. See, sometimes it's a psychological thing, because if you've hurt your hand before or have had hand injury, certain gloves will give you a certain type of protection. When you wear them and you're comfortable and you can punch with all of your authority while wearing them, because you know that your hands are pretty protected, especially how whomever wraps your hands wraps them. Yep. So that's something that where you have a comfort zone. When he had to change his gloves like that, it took a little bit of his concentration off of what he does. And you could also see it took a little bit of the effect off of what he does when he punches. Because think about it. He hit that guy with some solid shots, but the guy didn't want to take the risk. And early in the fight, the announcers were talking about how Bud had damage around his right eye, which he did. And his corner took care of it because they got the swelling down after it initially came up. I think it was round 3, 4, something like that. That swelling was coming up. They did good because by the end of the fight, that swelling had subsided. So they got it away from the eye pretty good. But did you see Madrimov's eye? His left eye was damaged. He came to the post press conference with glasses on. And Ed Hearn had the nerve to talk about and mention during his post-fight comments sitting on the dais, he was trying to talk about, well, you know, we saw that damage around Bud's eye. That was during the fight. But when the post-fight, Bud sat up there, he looked fine, didn't he? But Madrimov, that one that came in there with shades on, hiding the damage around his own eyes.
Well, you know, they bruise easy.
Yeah, but it happens because he was being touched. That's all I'm trying to say. I just went the long route. He was being touched, and nobody touched him like that before. And there's probably not another fighter outside of Crawford who can touch him like that presently. So, you know, he's dealing from a great position because Bud is closer to the end of his career than he is in the midst of a career. And that's how that plays out. But those are my thoughts about that. And I'm going to say it one last time. Terrence Bud Crawford is a 5-dimensional fighter. He's the best of this era. They don't want to give him the credit. And he's not a boring fighter. Floyd has shown tendencies to be boring because he broke it down to an economic science for himself. If I just win 7 rounds over you, I've won. Bud doesn't think like that. Bud thinks from a standpoint of breaking you down within the fight round by round. If there's a chance to get you up out of there, he's going to go for it. If there's a chance to turn back your challenge and put you in your place, he's going to do it. If there's a chance for him just to make you look silly and foolish, he's going to do it. That's so much different from Floyd Mayweather. But see, people don't have an appreciation for that because they don't watch boxing like that. I was asked earlier about, the thing about guys boxing. I was like, when it's at a high level like that, you have to be able to see exactly what you're looking at. You have to see the levels. Now, Madrimov is a good fighter, but he's not great. But he happened to be in there against a great fighter. And that was very good for him because he got taught some things in there. We'll see how he looks and fares going forward in his career. But it's going to take a hell of a fighter to defeat that young man out of Nebraska.
Yo, salute to the Audacity podcast. And that super in the Cash App. Much love. He says Black American fighters are most hated, even hated by our own people. Hashtag Black first. Which is why, although I had it a draw, I'm gonna treat it like baseball moving forward. Tie goes to the runner. F that, Bud won. Our family, Shabazz, says he had it 8-4 for Bud. I'm gonna go look at it again. I could be wrong. I'm not perfect. But right on cue, I don't know who this person is. D843 Chuck with a capital C at the end. Okay, apparently he has a story about Bud. Okay, you ain't gotta like Bud, but people see different things. You ain't gotta like Bud, but
what I'm talking about is what I saw in the boxing match.
Yep.
I didn't go into anything outside the ring or anything like that about being disliking and all of that, because see, that's called compartmentalization, huh? I keep telling you these guys are not well read, and when you're not well read, you do dumb shit and you say dumb shit, but that's okay because there's a seat for you outside of the conversation when you don't understand the nuances of what we bring to what we're doing here. This is not a love fest. This is a boxing conversation and discussion. You see, and it's not done with emotion. It's done with intellect. Try it sometimes. You may find yourself elevated.
Now, I just went to this dude's page. She's 11 years on YouTube, and I think that's you with a Triple G hat on, hugging up on the arrow with a Triple G hat on. Hugging up on the arrow with a Triple G hat on, hugging up on the arrow with a Triple G. You listen, the jokes literally write themselves, dude. And you're a man of a certain age. Wait a minute, let me go to your page again. See, I gotta do homework on people like this.
And why you say that, I had it 8-4 myself for Bud. I had it 8-4.
All right, that's cool. I'm gonna go watch it again. Yeah, this is a man of a certain age with a gray beard and all that. And this F Bud, look, I don't know what your problem is with Bud. I don't know what your problem is with Bud, but we in here having a conversation, and you come in here shooting up the stuff. You shooting up the place like those white kids with the trench coats that shot up the students for making fun of them.
We come into this conversation and live stream with fully clothed, brother. Don't you come in here with your drawers pulled down, because don't nobody want to see your junk. Okay, come in here correct, or don't come at all, because this is what adults do. What you're doing is very childish, and I am not ashamed or afraid to point out childishness.
You see, fella. I don't know how old you are. You got gray on your face, so you're a man of a certain age. But I'll say this: you can't talk about who's getting robbed when you're wearing a damn Triple G hat on, man. Please stop, bro. Now Bud's a cheat. All right, goodbye. Somebody block him. I'm not dealing with that. Bud's a cheat. I'm not even gonna go into the why is he a cheat. I'm not dealing with that, man. All right. First time here, I never saw this dude in my life. It's a real channel, but he's hugged up on the arrow with a Triple G hat on, as if Triple G isn't one of the epitomes of privilege in boxing. You know what I'm saying? He's had close fights. Did anyone tell him to run it back with Derevyanchenko? By the way, Stormy, you ever heard that? Triple G should run it back with Sergey Derevyanchenko. You ever heard that? That don't happen to them. That don't happen to guys like Triple G. That don't happen to guys like Lomachenko. That don't happen to guys like Kovalev. But this guy on his page,
don't happen to guys like Teofimo Lopez.
It don't. Now, I don't know if this dude's Latino or not, but whatever. He's probably one of those white Latinos. It don't matter. But here's my point, y'all. Here's my point. You see, you got to watch this stuff. okay, he's hugged up with a picture with Errol Spence on his page. Go look at it. But he has on a Triple G hat. And then it was in my chat talking about damn right. Do you see this? Now, I just told you, I scored it a draw. But what I should have said was, F that, Bud won. You see, you heard me say I ain't got to be fair, right? Exhibit A. You see? I don't know, dude. But you see why I ain't got to be fair. You see that, right? We've been in here having an educated discussion about boxing, getting everyone, all the winners their props. We broke down what happened and why people lost and everything else. He comes in here and just poops on Bud. But just about 5 months ago, I was the Bud hater. Remember that? I was the Bud hater, right? Allegedly. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I could critique. Look, I'll critique my own. Never hated Bud. I just didn't understand his business. I can critique my own, but what I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna let some dude come in here and do that. We protect our own house. I'll critique my brother and my sister, but I'll be damned if some dude in the street does it. It don't go like that. And I don't care if Bud don't give any of us on interviews. That has nothing to do with nothing. I don't know him. I'll tell you this much. You know who did stop and have a conversation with me? Y'all know Bernie did in Vegas. That was good enough. Bernie, cool. That was good enough. Every fighter should need a dude like Bernie in their camp because Bernie is like Bud's friend for real. Ride or die. You need that. Jared Anderson needs a Bernie. Maybe his friend would have told him, yo, don't take that Bakole fight. Jared Anderson needed a Bernie in his camp rather than the Sugar Hill, who knew all of those guys in the UK. What, he thought he could coach him past Bakole? Now look, more on that tomorrow. But you see, we're sitting here minding our business, having a conversation. This dude coming here with a smoking barrel. Bang, 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 bang. For what? Because you hate Bud? What? Tell me, he ain't give you an interview? He ain't take a picture with you? Now, mind you, he in there hating on Bud, but he got a picture with Errol Spence with a Triple G hat on. Are y'all paying attention or are y'all just watching? You see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about, y'all, but, you know, it's whatever, man. But I ain't gonna, you know, he can't hijack the show because I got a million wrenches in here for a reason. So it is what it is. He's never made content. I just went to his channel. He's never made content, but allow me to be the reason why you make content. You could drag my name and go to other channels and bring my name up and see how many haters I got. I'm very popular. And you can go delete yourself and do the Lord's work. You know what I'm saying? You get that 6 RP 226, that Smith & Wesson, that Glock 19, play Russian roulette with a semi-automatic weapon, put it in your mouth and do the Lord's work. Don't come in here with that. We don't deal with that. So anyway, Stormy, let them know how they can find you, man.
And everybody can find me right here on YouTube. Stormy B-Man is the channel. And that's Stormy B-Man, which is in all caps, but there's absolutely, positively no cap with the channel. Yeah. Link will be in the chat.
Yeah, make sure y'all like and subscribe, man. And I don't know, maybe Miguel sent that guy.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
Because, you know, they can make
Or maybe he was Miguel.
Maybe that was Miguel. You know, they can make up a YouTube channel and tell you that they've been around for 11 years, 12 years, 20 years. I swear to God, back in the day, I said, how does this guy have a channel? And it says he's been a YouTube member for 17 years, and YouTube ain't been around that long. And this was 10 years ago. I said, how's that? And I know I saw that, but I wasn't even doing content back then. I said, YouTube was
What do we say about it, man? We always say the math ain't mathing, dude.
Math ain't mathing. Stormy,
like,
you uploaded a video, and I screenshot and sent it to you. I said, how you got 12 views, but it said you had like 1,000 likes? I was like, what? They did it to BF, they did it to me. I said, man, come on, Miguel's hard at work.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
You doo-doo chaser. So Nerd Zone Culture tomorrow, we're gonna be talking about a cult classic. You want to tell them what we talking about, Stormy?
Tomorrow we will be talking about The Warriors from 1979, and that film, the impression that it had on the U.S. because gangs all over the country decided they wanted to stand up and be seen, heard, and shot as a result
Cult
of that
classic
film.
from the Bronx, and they had to bop all the way to Brooklyn, man. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'll be talking boxing right here tomorrow. Pep talk tomorrow. And we out here working, man. Salute to all of you. Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, Super Chat, man. If I miss you in the chat, know that I love you, man. And y'all support me. And, you know, I appreciate that. I really do. And the reunion, y'all. Let me see y'all in Atlanta.
Zooming through the skies to infinity and beyond, no idea where I'm finna be. Can only hold out for hope of safe landings, but it's in, I'm gonna take what I'm handed. They gawking up at the sky like, it's a bird, it's a plane, oh my god, it's a being up this high, it was always the plan. At the end of the day, it's just me and my gang. It's just me and my gang. It's just me and my kid. Simple syllabic sonics written about the subject. Supersonic speed, the way people get on it. Sick of infinitesimal problems, slipping through cracks of my conscience. If this beat was a prison, then I'm a convict. I leave the tracks.
I catch y'all, man. Bronx on deck.
Move!
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.